Movie montages on social media, everything we're told in corporate reviews.
Okay, I'm hooked. What's the premise?
The premise is this. We have been completely lied to about what it takes to succeed.
That is a heavy start. You're really coming out swinging.
I am, because I think we need to break this frame. The standard narrative, the one we've all sort of internalized, is that if you want to achieve something massive—
Like writing a novel, getting in shape.
Exactly, or building a company, you need massive action. You need this ironclad, grit-your-teeth willpower. We're told that success is about taking huge, audacious leaps.
And basically suffering your way to glory.
Great.
It's the whole rise and grind culture.
Yes.
The idea that if you aren't waking up at 4 a.m. and just crushing a workout before the sun comes up,
Yeah.
you just don't want it bad enough.
It's exhausting just thinking about it. But the source material we're covering today argues that this approach isn't just exhausting, it's actually a recipe for failure.
A recipe for burnout, for sure.
It argues that motivation is unreliable, that willpower is a battery that just runs out, and that, relying on them is a strategy for amateurs.
That is a bold stance.
It is. Today we are doing a deep dive into James Clear's Atomic Habits. And I think we need to be clear up front. Calling this a self-help book just feels reductive.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Self-help implies these vague motivational speeches or, I don't know, staring in the mirror and giving yourself affirmation. This is different.
How so?
I view this material as more like engineering schematics for human behavior. It's cognitive science applied to daily life. It's about systems, not hype.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We aren't just going to list good habits. We want to understand why these tiny, almost invisible changes, what Clear calls atomic habits,
Right.
why they mathematically outperform those dramatic overnight transformations. We want to hand you the source code for hacking your own behavior.
Leading you away from setting goals and toward building systems.
Yes, exactly.
Which is critical because most people know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you listening right now probably know you should eat more vegetables or save more money.
Of course.
The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is execution. And Atomic Habits argues that the gap between knowledge and execution, it's a design flaw in our systems, not a character flaw in our personalities.
That is such a huge relief to hear, because I cannot tell you how many times I've fallen off the wagon with New Year's resolution.
Oh, everyone has.
I start January with this extreme discipline energy. I buy all the new gear. I throw out all the junk food. And by February 15th, I'm back on the couch ordering takeout.
And blaming yourself.
I always blamed my lack of willpower. I just thought I was weak.
You're definitely not alone in that.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the core thesis of this entire deep dive. If you take nothing else away from our conversation today, let it be this.
Okay.
You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your system.
You fall to the level of your systems. Let's unpack that, because we are obsessed with goals. Q4 targets, OKRs, weight loss goals. Are we saying goals are useless?
Not useless, no, but insufficient. Think about it this way. Winners and losers have the exact same goals.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, think about the Olympics. Every single athlete on that track has the goal of winning the gold medal. Every candidate interviewing for a job has the goal of getting that job.
That's a really good point. We usually suffer from survivorship bias. We look at the winner, the gold medalist, and we say, they had a big goal, so the goal caused the success.
But we ignore the 20 other people who had the exact same goal and lost.
Right.
So if the goal is the constant between winners and losers, it can't be the differentiator.
So what is?
The differentiator is the system. The daily training regimen, the nutrition, the sleep schedule, how they handle recovery. The goal is just the direction. The system is the machine that actually gets you there.
To understand this machine and why the atomic part matters so much, we have to look at the math.
We do. Because when he says atomic, he means small, like an atom, but also foundational.
Yes.
He builds this mathematical argument for the 1% rule. And the math is, it's actually staggering when you play it out.
It is.
The premise is,
Yeah.
if you can get just 1% better at something each day for 1 year.
1%. Sounds like nothing.
Exactly. But mathematically, that's 1.01 to the power of 365. You end up 37 times better.
37 times. It's hard to even visualize that kind of growth. It sounds like a fake number.
It does, but that's the power of compounding.
Yeah.
But here's the dangerous part. The inverse is also true.
Oh, right.
If you get 1% worse every day, that's 0.99 to the power of 365, you decline nearly down to 0. The point is, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement.
I love that analogy. It explains why habits are so hard to stick with at first.
Hmm.
Think about a bank account. You save $1 today, you're not a millionaire. You go to the gym for 20 minutes, you aren't ripped. You look in the mirror and you look exactly the same.
Right. There's no immediate feedback.
In the moment, the action feels insignificant, so it's easy to just dismiss it.
That's the time gap.
Yeah.
We overestimate what we can do in a day, but we vastly underestimate what we can do in a year. We're all looking for that big breakthrough moment.
Yeah.
But the results are just a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits. Your weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits.
My clutter is a lagging measure of my cleaning habits.
Exactly.
Okay, so if our reality is just a lagging measure of our past habits, we need to stop looking at the results, the scale, the bank balance, and start looking at the inputs.
That's the idea.
But this leads to a problem I've had. Even when I build a system, say for a marathon, I hit the goal, I cross the finish line, and then
Yeah.
I just stop running.
The motivation just evaporates.
Totally. The target is gone.
That is the yo-yo effect, and it's the second major flaw of a goal-oriented mindset. Goals are binary, you know. You either achieve them or you don't. And once you do, the game's over.
So what's the alternative?
Systems are about the process, continuing to play the game. You don't want to just run a marathon. You want to become a runner.
And that distinction between doing a thing and becoming a thing, that leads us into what I think is the biggest aha moment in the entire book.
Oh yeah, identity.
It's all about identity.
This is the deepest layer of behavior change.
Okay.
Usually when we try to change, we start with the outcome. We say, I want to lose 20 pounds.
Right.
Then we focus on the process.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stick to this diet. And we hope that eventually, if we suffer enough, we'll become a healthy person. That's the identity part.
So outcome, then process, then identity. That's the standard way.
But Clear says we have to reverse that flow completely.
Yeah.
Real lasting change starts with identity.
So identity, then process, then outcome.
Exactly. You have to decide who you want to be.
So instead of, I want to run a marathon, you say, I am a runner.
Precisely. Or instead of, I want to write a book, it's, I am a writer.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here. Isn't that just fake it till you make it?
I see what you mean.
If I haven't written anything and I look in the mirror and say I'm a writer, isn't that just lying to myself? It feels a little delusional.
That's a fair skepticism. And you're right, if you just stand there chanting affirmations without doing anything, then yeah, it's delusion. But this is where the concept of casting a vote comes in.
Right. This grounds it in reality.
It does. I love this metaphor. The idea is that your identity isn't fixed in stone. It's like an election that is always happening.
And you don't need a unanimous vote to win an election.
You just need the majority. Every time you choose a salad over a burger, you aren't just eating food. You are casting a vote for, I am a healthy person.
Every time you write one paragraph, you cast a vote for, I am a writer.
Exactly. So you're building up a body of evidence.
Yeah.
You aren't just hyping yourself up.
You're proving it to yourself.
You are. Real confidence isn't some magical energy you conjure up. It's based on evidence. You look at your own life and say, I have proof that I am this person because I showed up, one small vote at a time.
This takes the pressure off perfection, too.
Totally.
If you miss a workout or eat a donut, you haven't failed. You cast a vote for the other side that day. The goal is just to win the majority of votes over time.
And once you shift that identity, the behavior becomes easier. You aren't forcing yourself to do something against your nature. You're just acting in alignment with who you believe you are.
A runner runs.
It's just what they do.
Okay, so we have the philosophy. Build systems, not goals, focus on identity. But we promise the source code. How do we actually engineer a habit?
This is where we get into the neurology. There's a loop that happens in our brain all day for every habit.
The habit loop.
Right. And this isn't pop psychology. This is how the basal ganglia in your brain works. Clear simplifies it into 4 steps. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Let's walk through those.
Okay, first, the cue. That's the trigger. It's any piece of information that predicts a reward. Your phone buzzing, the smell of coffee, walking into a dark room.
And that triggers the craving. And the source material makes a really interesting point here. We don't crave the thing.
No, we crave the change in state that the thing provides.
Yes, this is crucial.
You don't crave the cigarette. You crave the relief from stress. You don't crave scrolling Instagram. You crave the stimulation, the escape from boredom. The item is just the vehicle.
Then comes the response, the actual habit, and finally, the reward.
The reward is the payoff. It satisfies the craving, and more importantly, it teaches your brain, hey, that felt good, let's do that again. That closes the loop.
So if you want to change your behavior, you can't just fight the response. You have to redesign the whole loop.
Which brings us to the 4 laws of behavior change.
4 laws for the 4 parts of the loop.
Exactly. To build a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying.
Okay, let's get practical. Law 1, make it obvious. This targets the cue.
Most of our bad habits are just invisible. We do them on autopilot. You grab a cookie because it's on the counter. You check your phone because it's next to your hand.
So you have to make them visible first.
Right. But the best tool here is something called habit stacking.
I've started using this. The formula is, after my current habit, I will do my new habit.
It's brilliant because it uses the strong neural pathways you already have. You don't need new motivation. You just say, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Or after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately put on my gym shoes. You're piggybacking.
You are. The old habit becomes the cue. Okay, law 2 targets the craving. Make it attractive.
This is all about dopamine, right? Hacking our own desire.
It is. A great technique here is temptation bundling. You pair an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Like the example of the student who hacked his bike so Netflix would only play while he was pedaling.
Yes, that's genius. If he stops pedaling, the show stops. He bundled the want, watching his show, with the need exercise.
And eventually, your brain starts to associate the hard task with the good feeling.
Right. You start looking forward to the gym because it's the only time you get to listen to your favorite podcast.
Moving to law 3. This one's about the response, and I think this is where most of us fail. Law 3, make it easy.
This is the antidote to perfectionism. We start way too big. We say, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour a day, 6 days a week.
It's too much friction.
Way too much. Clary argues you should standardize before you optimize. This is where the 2-minute rule comes in.
I have to be honest, when I first read this, it sounded like a gimmick. Read for 2 minutes. How can you get in shape in 2 minutes?
You can't. But you can establish the habit of showing up in 2 minutes. We think the workout is the hard part. It's not. Getting to the gym is the hard part.
So the entry point needs to be frictionless.
Exactly. The goal isn't read a book. The 2-minute version is read 1 page. The goal isn't run 3 miles. It's put on my running shoes and step out the door.
You make it so easy you can't say no.
It's about mastering the art of showing up. Because once you're there with your shoes on, you'll probably stay for the workout. But you can't improve a habit that doesn't exist.
This also ties into environment design, right? Removing physical friction.
Absolutely. We think we make choices, but mostly we just react to our environment. If you want to practice guitar, don't keep it in the closet. Put it on a stand in the middle of the living room.
And if you want to eat healthier, put the apples on the counter and the chips on the highest shelf.
There's a great line in the book. The best discipline is not needing discipline.
I love that.
Disciplined people aren't superhuman. They just design their lives so they don't have to exercise willpower all day long. They make the good choice, the easy choice.
Okay, finally, law 4. This targets the reward. Make it satisfying.
This one's tricky because our brains evolved in an immediate return environment. You eat a berry, you get sugar immediately.
But we live in a delayed return environment.
Exactly. You go to the gym today, you don't see muscle for months. You save money now, you don't retire for decades.
So bad habits feel good now, but are bad later. Good habits are work now, but pay off later. How do we fix that?
You have to bring a piece of the reward into the present moment. You need visual proof of progress. The best tool is a simple habit tracker.
A calendar where you put a big X on the days you did the thing?
The don't break the chain strategy. Yes. It sounds primitive, but we are wired to want to complete patterns. Seeing a streak of 10 X's on a calendar gives you a little hit of dopamine.
You're going to protect that streak.
And it shifts your mindset to, I'm the kind of person who doesn't skip. That visual record becomes the immediate reward.
So we have the 4 laws. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And to break a bad habit, you just invert them.
Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
Exactly. Unplug the TV, put it in a closet, unsubscribe from the marketing emails. You're just pulling the levers.
But there is a warning label. Even if we do all this, there's a danger zone. The source calls it the valley of disappointment. This is the graveyard of New Year's resolutions. It's that period where you are putting in the work, you're following the system.
But you see absolutely no results.
0. You've been running for 2 weeks, but the scale hasn't moved. You've been writing every day, but nobody's reading your blog.
And the logical conclusion is, this isn't working, I'm wasting my time.
But Clear uses this analogy that I found so comforting, the ice cube analogy.
Oh, this is great.
Imagine an ice cube on a table in a room that's, say, 25 degrees. You start slowly heating the room, 26 degrees, 27. The ice cube is still just a frozen block.
It looks like wasted effort. You're burning energy, but nothing's changing.
Right, 29, 30, 31 degrees, still nothing. But then you hit 32 degrees and the ice begins to melt. Now, was it that one final degree that melted the ice?
No, of course not. It was all the energy that was stored up before it.
Exactly. When you are in the valley of disappointment, you aren't failing. You are storing potential energy. The work is happening underground. You just haven't hit the melting point yet.
You haven't hit the tipping point.
Understanding that is so crucial for patience. You have to trust that the score takes care of itself if you just keep playing the game.
I think that's such a powerful place to land. When you feel stuck, you're just heating up the room.
You're building up the potential to break through.
So as we wrap this deep dive up, what's the synthesis? We've talked about compound growth, the habit loop, the 4 laws, the valley.
I think the synthesis is that atomic habits isn't really about habits in the traditional sense. It's about self-trust. It's realizing you don't need to be a different person to succeed.
You just need to design a better environment and a better system.
It's not about willpower. It's about engineering.
And for you listening right now, the takeaway isn't to go overhaul your entire life tomorrow. That's the old way of thinking. That's the mindset that leads to burnout.
Right. The takeaway is to look at your day-to-day and just ask, where is the friction? How can I make the good habit just 1% easier and the bad habit 1% harder?
You don't need to be a superhero.
You just need to be an architect of your own space.
I want to leave you with a final question, something that really stuck with me. We talked about voting for your identity. So ask yourself, who do you want to become?
Not what do you want to get, but who do you want to be?
And once you have that answer,
Ask yourself, what is the 2-minute action I can take right now to cast a vote for that person?
maybe it's doing 1 push-up, maybe it's writing 1 sentence.
You're just drinking a glass of water, whatever it is, do it. Cast the vote.
You don't need motivation. You need design. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.